So once again, this is like an umbrella sort of video. It's not exactly like a specific micro topic on TikTok. It's more like a general thing that I see happen a lot on Art Talk, or at least recent, as in the past few months. And today's topic is the sectioning of art styles, and by sectioning, I kind of mean like over-categorizing, over-naming, all that type of stuff, right? Because I feel like it started with what type of food does my art look like, what does my art look like, and then people will respond with the food. And I get that comment a lot on mine, like, oh, your like art looks like it would taste like blank. And those are really nice comments. I don't see an issue with them. And typically that's how an art style gets a name. Like the jelly art style comes to mind, the cream soda art style. I still don't know what exactly is considered the cream soda art style. I have not looked that up, I'm gonna be so real. But I feel like there's just a lot of art styles named after food now, and I feel like I kind of lost count after a while. But that's basically what I kind of mean by dividing art styles into specific categories. I just kind of feel like over-sectioning and dividing all of these art styles into specific names, it's fine, you know. Some rendering styles, I guess, are similar enough that you can consider it maybe like the jelly art style or whatever, even though I think there's really only like one artist who was known for the jelly art style, which I can't even get into. That was a whole crazy thing with them. But as a whole, there's just so many like subsections, I guess, with what is considered an art style section, I guess. And it's like, yeah, these art styles, I guess, are similar in the sense that they have similar rendering styles, eye styles, whatever. I just don't really see the need for a name for these, you know? Because I guess, yeah, if you want to search up an art style to reference, you know, it's easy to look for the jelly art style, it's easy to look for the cream soda art style, it's easy to look for the whatever style that you want to replicate maybe, or maybe want to look at. And that's completely fine, you know? Trying another art style and wanting to be able to find it easier, that's alright. It's kind of gotten to the point where it's just kind of sectioning sections. I don't know if I'm being over dramatic about it, but you know, I just don't really see the need for dividing things. And I feel like that's especially common on TikTok as a whole, not just even in the art TikTok community, with fashion styles and whatever, and there needing to be a specific like aesthetic name for whatever, and it kind of gets to the point when they're trying to section off something or categorize something that it kind of like is stripped down to its bare mechanics. And I notice this a lot in fashion, you know, getting on a tangent here, but terms get so watered down that it's basically just brought down to its bare characteristics, and it kind of loses its flavor, its movement, what the fashion style was trying to express, I guess, in some cases. And in many ways it kind of overshadows what that sort of style is meant to do. And again, it's completely fine to like want to categorize things, I guess, because in some ways it might be like a comfort for somebody to be able to find a specific genre that they really like, a specific niche. But like, we don't need a name for everything, especially in the art community. Like, I get it. I really do. I don't know how else I can say it. But, you know, it isn't really something that has to be generalized into a characteristic and dumbed down to just, that. Because I feel like on many levels, an art style is specific to the person and more or less an expression of itself, because it is quite literally an individual's art. And I feel like having an art style is like special, and in many ways I sort of see art styles that a person has kind of like illustrates a journey of sorts for some people, or is a collage of so many different points of inspiration that it's just so difficult to whittle it down to just being a type of art style, I feel like, especially with my own art, there's so many inspirations that I pull from that all kind of just meshed and muddled together into this bizarre, whatever you call it, for my art. I feel like that's something that is specific for everybody, There's no real, art styles that are completely one and the same, though they have the similar characteristics or shading styles and whatnot. There's still little bits that kind of, are a part of a specific thing that the artist is doing. And I guess for some, there are art styles that are, particular to the time. Let's say if you want to be a specific niche of the 2000s art styles, early 2000s, 2010, that's a general thing that kind of has basic characteristics, And for 2020's art styles, or the 2020 alternative art style that still is, very vast in its characteristics, I feel like there's some things that are obviously very staple of 2020, but there's so many different, special little bits that each person kind of brought to the table that it is really difficult to section that all into just one group, And I feel that especially with the cream soda art style, every other, food-related art style that I just cannot think of off of the top of my head. It's fine to have, I guess, a name for an art style, but it isn't necessary, because your art style is your own, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I'm really, really terrible at explaining it, but, don't feel the pressure to align yourself with an art style. Don't comment on other people's things. What is this art style called? It's that person's art style. There is no name for it. It is specific and particular to the person. And it's okay to pull inspiration from other people when it comes to developing your own art style. I feel like my love for art, my love for all of these other artists and what they did, kind of all culminated in my own art, and it is a reflection of my own journey and my own experiences, and I think that's beautiful, and I think the expression of art is very beautiful, and I'm on such a tangent right now, but, art is really awesome. Art styles are also very unique. I love seeing very unique art styles on my page. I'm like, yes, because some people can just do really, really cool things with their art, and, it's a very fun experience to sort of be inspired. My art style, as it developed, sort of had its own history, and what was popular at the time kind of reflected in the art style also, until I kind of found my own thing. And I hope I am putting some pictures on here, because I feel like my art replicated a lot of what was very prevalent in the characteristics of, I guess, the 2020 general art style bubble, whatever. And it just sort of became its own thing, and I pulled inspiration from a lot of different places. I think in some cases it was development of learning new things, seeing what other people's art styles I really liked and applying that to my own, and then, adding my own personal touches to make this art style. And I know I've tangented so hard on here. Art styles, they're awesome. And we don't need a name for everything. And art is particular and specific to you. And yes, while there is, you know, an overarching general style that exists, especially like right now, that doesn't seem to be the case because there's an art style or like art inspiration for everybody. There's no like overarching general trend anymore, or at least it's not as prevalent as it has been in the past, because everyone is able to indulge in their own unique sort of, you know, styles, and I think it's really cool, just as much as art styles are cool. So yeah, I tangented really hard on here, and yeah, that's it.